Hey, Shwetha Shivaprasad, welcome to the Ultimate QA podcast. Super glad to have you. I was just joking with you a little bit earlier about how your name is pretty much as complicated as my name to say. So that was really fun for me to say because I can relate now to how people try to pronounce my name. But anyways, welcome to the show. Super glad to have you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your life journey.
Thank you, Nikolai. Thanks for having me here. Yeah, I'm happy to share my life journey. It's a quite long career journey for me. It's almost 20 years I'm in this field. Overall 20 years, I can say I'm a result-driven person from the starting. I always count on results. I started my career in India. So my first company was Hewlett Packard. That's where I started as a manual test engineer. Slowly, I transitioned into automation. I don't know whether you heard about Windrunner. You were there or not. Slowly,
Yeah.
we transferred from Windrunner to QTP, UFT. I spent good amount of time. So that's where my journey started. And later I moved to US, and here I worked as consultant and different domains. Then slowly I did the transition of leading the big automation teams in the organization and changed the transition from manual to automation, some of the projects, and implemented tools across the company. So those are the biggest projects I worked on. Currently, I'm working as a QA director here in the present company. Here, it's most of the time my job is to put the strategies, and I'm a people person, so I put people first. That's where I start my journey with how can I enable my team to do it better, and also keep an eye on technology, right? That is very important. How I can learn something new and get that into my team and improve the efficiency. It's on my radar. Yeah, it's a quite long journey. I'm learning every day something new.
Wow, that's beautiful. Yeah, you're one of the few people that I've spoken with that's been around. Actually, you've been around longer than I have, and you're familiar with tools like Windrunner. I've never even used Windrunner, but I do remember it back from the good old days before like QTP. So it's really funny that you mentioned it and you know it because that was a long time ago.
Yeah, that reminds me how old I am.
And what do you think about the evolution of the tooling landscape from then to now for like automated testing? Has it changed or like has it changed in a positive way, in a negative way? What do you think?
Definitely, the core principles remain same, right? Whichever the tool you use, the basic principle of QA and testing remains same. Ours says like we have to make sure the quality and the customer should be satisfied with our product. That remains same. The tool evolution definitely changed. I can say when in the Windrunner at QTP, we didn't have the framework, whatever we developed. We have some standard frameworks we still follow, but with the modern technology, with the AI, it's pretty easy now. Anybody, if they want to get into automation, it is like matter of learning using some AI tools, learn the languages. It's pretty quick. And I think it has changed a lot over the period of time for the better way, I can say. It is not, it is auto healing is one of the things, right? It improves the maintenance of the script. And it is our automation engineers work. Earlier, I remember when I started my career, I used to develop one script like 3 hours, 4 days, one, because that's how I was learning the tool and technology, everything. Now it is, if you go to any one of the junior engineer, automation engineer, he can deliver 5 to 6 scripts in a week, sometimes up to 8. Why? Because of the new technology and what tool offers to us, right? So I think that it's a drastic change, but in a better way.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And so then that leads me to another question is, are you all doing automated testing at your organization?
At the current organization? Yes, we are. We are full-fledged automation. We work in the agile methodology. We try to implement both automation and manual. So we did that's a good question because I was coming out of that meeting. We did a transition from moving our manual testing engineer to automation. That's quite a journey, right? Basically, anybody, if you want to change something, that is something resistance from the team. It is the basic of fear, right? How we learn new things. How can we learn new tools? So as a director, it is the biggest challenge is not by implementing the technology. It is how you enable your team, how to give the courage to them to move to the next step. And how can you enable them to embrace these changes, right? Those are the things I need to plan ahead. Yeah, it is in our current team completely. They are into automation. Every sprint they automate, and also they are part of some regression suite they automated within the sprint. We are using the open source tool, Playwright. That is really beautiful. We moved from Selenium to Playwright. That is a huge impact. It made a huge impact in my organization. It saved a lot of money
Wow. Oh my God. I have so many questions from you saying that. Okay. First, it's really cool. I thought what you said about how your role is less about implementing the technology, but more about empowering your people to be able to transition from manual to automated testing. I can't tell you how many times I've seen organizations attempt to make the journey of moving over their manual testing to automation and it ultimately ending up in a failure because they didn't do it correctly. They didn't give the people enough time, enough training, enough guidance in order to make the transition safely. They'll just be like, hey, you guys learn, take this course, and then go do automation. What is your transition plan like, and what steps are you putting in place to make them successful?
This in my current company, we have a good combination of both automation and manual test engineers, right? First, what I did is I hired some of the technical automation resources who know in and out of the tool and the technology. So what we did is we gave initial training, some programming language, the basic Java. We provided the training to a manual test engineer. That is a basic foundation for anybody to start with. So once it is done, then we started a buddy system. We gave some training. We pair up with another automation expert and one manual test engineer. So we started the journey. So it helps them ask questions whenever they want. And we arrange every week framework walkthroughs. What are the coding standards we need to follow? It is a journey. We can't blame anyone if they are not up to the mark, because if we don't encourage them, if you don't create a training plan, it is really difficult. So we are doing, this is ongoing effort. I'm not telling 100% we are done with the transition, but our team is we are starting every weekly once we have a training session and a buddy system. We bought a couple of Udemy trainings too. So whenever they want, they can go and look into that. And we also show them how can we use AI, right? AI can do most of the things, Nikolai. If you go to ChatGPT, you can give a scenario. It will give you 10 test cases. You can ask them to write a pseudocode for that. That will give you. So how can you fine tune those scripts? So basically, we provided them all the tools and tricks to navigate to this journey. So yeah, it's going on. It's ongoing process, but they're better than what they were.
Amazing. Yeah. How long are you giving them to transition to automation? And also, how are you measuring success?
Yeah, success is, first of all, we measure success in different stages, right? We have given almost 6 months to the transition period for them. It is by the time they can learn. And one thing, what I ask my team to do is to start executing the test cases, right? That is the first step. If they're confident about running the scripts in UAT or production environment, they know how that works. And the next step is we measure successes, like how can they write functions? It's a step by step. It's a micro success, I can say. We can't expect manual test engineers to write test case overnight or within 1 month. We have to give them enough time. So we have given multiple stages to complete. So I think at the end, they should be able to deliver at least one script within a sprint, 2 scripts within a sprint. That's where I start with. Eventually, they will be a full-fledged automation engineer. That's our plan.
Amazing. And you mentioned it saved a lot of money. Um, how are you measuring that? Like, what was the before and after that you're measuring to know that you're saving a lot of money?
That is a good question. That was one of the challenge also, I would like to say, especially if you're in a leadership, we measure ROI, right? If you're hiring automation engineer, how much money you saved, how it benefits to the organization, right? Let me give simple example. By just moving couple of manual test engineer to automation, definitely the productivity of the test execution, the time, right? We have a season. Ours is a seasonal business. So we need to run end-to-end regression suite for 1 or 2 weeks. We spend literally 2 weeks to make sure our website is not defect free. At least I can say no P1 defect free. For that, they do day and night, all the manual test engineers to test. By building this automation, we have a good amount of regression suite. Not only this company, previous organization also, we built a good amount of regression suite. So instead of 2 weeks, we reduced it to 1 day. That's it. You execute all the scripts in 1 day. If you want, you can keep 1 day as a buffer. So by saving 7 to 8 days with the multiple, you have 10 manual test engineer. That is our saving. That's how we are going to show. That is a typical way of showing the ROI. One more thing I'll tell you. This is interesting. I learned as I moved to the leadership. How can we map our ROI with the business impact, right? It is not the number of automation scripts you develop. It is not the what kind of automation scripts. Like it is a business impact scripts, right? Business critical functionalities. That's what I asked my team to pick it up. Because if you automate 20 good business flows, that is good enough. If you make that as like a 99%, it works fine every time without any flaky test of those 20 or 30 tests every time. If you're able to run, that's a good success. Why I'll tell you, because these 20 flows are directly linked to the business. If you don't miss any defect in the production, which impacts the revenue or the profit, that is indirectly linked to our profit, our ROI. That's how we are going to measure the QA automation effort. It's not like by saving 10 hours and resources. That is one way. It's very traditional, but I'm going to connect our quality of scripts, how many defects we caught before going to production, which would have been impact our business, right? Which would have impact the revenue of the company if you would have missed that defect. So that's how we measure.
Yeah. Wow. Amazing. Good for you. That's really sharp. And that totally makes sense to me. So you are basically capturing how many defects you all find before production with the automated testing. And then you tie those defects to potential revenue costs had they made it to production.
Would have made it to the production, you would have lost some money.
How can you know how much a defect would have cost had it made it to production?
Yeah, because definitely we know, for example, checkout process. Let's see, if you go to Amazon or any website, right? If user is able to give a wrong address, still they're able to check out, right? If that defect is not, it's not validating the address. I'm just giving an example. So it's not validating the address, still it's able to place the order. That is a defect, right? That would have impact the business. The business will ship the product. It will go to UPS or FedEx, wherever they couldn't, then it will return. We must have paid money to ship that product. We are losing that money, right? By just thinking that we are shipping to the right address. So that is just an example. So we have a complete set for each page. If you work on e-commerce, you know every user flow, every click, we measure the revenue. How many users clicked on this, how much we can convert into, what is the conversion rate? Which are the pages we should not have defect at all? Which flows we have to ensure that it is zero defect free. So we have the data within the organization. So when we ensure that we'll map it with that.
Amazing. Yeah, that's really good. It's amazing that you guys have the data, because I think a lot of times organizations don't have the data. And so a challenge that I've seen happen is, how do you measure the ROI on like automated testing? How do you measure the prevention of issues leaking into production? And you brought out a really good point that we need to have that data, the revenue data on how each flow can impact the business.
That's where the collaboration comes into picture, right? Especially if you're getting into leadership role or anybody, forget about the leaders, even automation engineers. They should work closely with the cross-functional partners, product team, development team, even for the business team. They should understand the business impact. Then only they can deliver quality test scripts, I can say. They should know, aware of it. Okay, if I don't write the script properly, this may impact the revenue. If they have that knowledge, then definitely they do their job.
Yeah, what a great point. I think you touched on something very valuable, and this is a mistake that I also made myself early in my career, was focusing on automating more versus focusing on automating the things that are valuable to the business. Because at the end of the day, we all work to support a business that's ultimately there to generate revenue. And so if our activities don't align in generating or saving revenue, those activities are probably less valuable. And so I think that's an important mindset to take on for every employee at every company, because if we are taking on those actions, now we're helping the business to succeed. And if the business succeeds, we also succeed with the business.
Even I like that. Like so many years, I was not thinking about business at all when I started my career, right? Because you will have limited knowledge. You learn over the period of time.
Yeah, totally agree. We're not like, I don't know, I don't think we're taught this really anywhere outside of like whatever technical skills we're picking up. whenever we're learning those technicals, it's focused on that, right? It's like, these are the skills to do your job, but very few trainings. I've never taken a training that has ultimately helped me to connect what I'm doing to a business. This is something that I had to figure out as I built myself and built organizations over my time. I realized that my actions have to contribute to the business goals, and the people below me, their actions have to contribute to the business goals as well.
That comes with the organizational mindset also, right? How are we involving QA testers in the process, in the software delivery? Are we encouraging them to attend those meetings, the design meetings, the requirement meetings? So we have to involve them from the day one. That gives them the background and why we are doing this, what are the advantages of doing this. So that gives them some mindset to think through. So involving QA, not just deliver your product and say that test this. It is no more, we are not in that era anymore. We have to be part of from day one the development. So that enables all QA engineers.
Yeah, that's a great point. Shweta, what do you think is your biggest challenge that you face as a director of QA?
Recently, the collaboration, right? That is always when you grow up in your career, it is how you collaborate with your cross-functional partners. How are you gonna help them to understand your priorities are very important, right? For example, I come up with saying that, okay, we need to include automation within the sprint. That may not go well with our cross-functional partners because the capacity may go down, right? They may say that, no, we are not able to deliver enough tickets if we add 2 or 3 days for automation. So how are we talking to them? How are we convincing your cross-functional partners and giving them a long vision? Like, for example, if we put our effort now, it will value adds for us during the season. So educating them about our priority and process, that was a challenge, but it is not impossible. It needs a couple of meetings and go in depth analysis and providing them data, why I'm talking this, why I'm coming with this approach. That helped, that resolves the issue. But initially, that was the challenge.
Wow. Yeah, that makes total sense. I have to ask you another question because I'm hearing a lot of very valuable and novel information from you that I haven't heard before. Where did you learn this? And do you have some resources that you can share with our audience so that they can become more like a Shweta if they desire to be?
Yeah, it is basically its experience, right, Nikolai? The one of the advantage I had is I worked in India and I moved to US. Here, when I came here, I worked as a consultant. That gave me opportunity to work for different organizations. That opened up a lot of new. When I work for different domain, different clients, that gave me opportunity to learn every day new. Apart from that, if somebody wants to learn, please hear a lot of podcasts, lot of information available online. Go and listen or read about it. That's what I like to learn every day. One of the other thing, 15, 20 minutes. That's it. Not much. When you're in the gym, just put that audio and learn something new. It may be related to QA or may not, or the business. Something every day, something you need to learn. If you cultivate that, definitely you can. Yeah, you'll be best at your
Yeah,
job.
love that. Where do you go for your learning?
The first thing, well, Udemy and ChatGPT, lot of things, lot of places, right? Udemy, I go and enroll some courses by myself and LinkedIn Learning everywhere. In YouTube, if I want to do something, really, if I want to learn some TikTok, how they do. And also, I like to some of the women empowerment. I'll go and read about their autobiography. For example, Indra Nooyi, how did they come up, right? Especially being a woman, I have some challenges while coming up in this corporate, and also balancing family. If you have a kid, how do you balance out family as well as your career? I'm not telling it's different for men, but we have our own set of challenges. So I'll go and read about them, how other women leaders encounter. Even they are there, even they must have gone through the same journey. And so their inputs always help. So I listen to them, a couple of leaders, and I follow them. That motivates me for sure.
Love that. Yeah, really great advice. I'm a huge believer in constantly learning because I think that, especially in technology, the
Yeah.
world of technology moves fast, so fast. And now with AI, it's moving even faster. And so if we're not keeping up to date, like you already mentioned AI a few times, if we're not keeping up to date with these technologies, we will quickly be outdated and so then less efficient in our job. So I love that idea.
Say that, right? When you stop learning, you start dying. That's what they say, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah, exactly. Like a business, it's either growing or dying.
Growing or dying. That's it. So we have to embrace it. We have to adopt it, whatever the changes. It is difficult because we will be out of our comfort zone, but that is the need of the hour, right? We have to be there,
Mhm.
have to challenge ourselves. Yeah, every day I challenge myself. Maybe I'm a director, but what is next, right? How can I impact business? What kind of strategies I need to work to grow in my career? So that's not easy. We have to challenge ourselves.
Yeah, beautiful. Shweta, what do you think is one big lesson that you've learned through your career that you can teach us as well?
Big lesson. Yeah, the big lesson is definitely not knowing the impact of business. I'm coming there itself because my earlier mindset was just delivering the task. That's it. If you give something, I'll make sure that I'll deliver that. But that's not enough, right? For your career growth, as well as for you to make an impact in the organization, that's not enough. Delivery 100 people can do it. If you want to grow, how you impact the business, how you make sure you are valuable within the organization, but what kind of value you can provide. There are two ways of measure, right? If any organization, if you want to say that you're the good resource, there are two ways. How you value add to the organization and also how much money you save, right? That is important too. So how can you take your team to the next level? See, these are some key characteristics. They measure with any organization. So we have to aware of those things. And yeah, I think that my biggest lesson was not knowing the impact of business. I was just only one mindset, do your job and get out. That was not taking me anywhere in my career. I was like a stagnant for 3, 4 years, not doing anything, just do my job, automation script and get out. Then I thought like what I'm doing, what I'm missing. Everybody says that, oh, you're doing awesome job, but I'm not progressing in my career. Then that shift happened. Then when I see my other leaders, what they were doing, what I'm not doing. So that's how I observed, learned. Now I know. So I say everybody that whether you're in QA or whichever the field, understand your business first. And you see what value you can do to your company or the business that will take
Yeah,
you.
I think that's a very, very beautiful message. I totally agree. And I think that ultimately, if as employees, people deliver value to the organization will reward them back. It's either the organization will reward you for the value that you're delivering and you will grow in your career, or other organizations will find you and reward you for the value that you're doing for the organization that doesn't want to recognize you for your work. So either way, you will win.
Yes, I think so there's experience for us, right? Learning something.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Shweta, before we go, do you have any last words of wisdom for us about anything that even I didn't cover?
Wisdom I can say for everybody, whoever in the QA field, it has changed a lot over the period of time. Please adopt. Adaptability is very important. Embrace the change, and don't be scared of AI. AI is not taking away your job. Always, everyone thinks that it's take away your job. It's not. Take advantage of that and learn something new every day. Learning is important. I just one thing is embrace the change. That's all I want to say.
Beautiful. I love it. Shweta, thank you so much for joining the podcast. It's been such a pleasure to chat with you. You've been a wealth of knowledge. We sincerely appreciate you and have a beautiful day.
Thanks a lot, Nikolai. It was nice chatting with you. See you.
You too. Bye bye.